There we go. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our call. Hope you're all doing well, that you're holding a very warm cup of coffee for today's session. Um, I'm also hoping that you're able to unmute yourself and turn on your camera for questions later, and in case you want to show yourselves. Yeah, we can definitely hear some sounds. Great. Good to see some faces over there.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning,
everyone.
Stano.
Hi.
All right, so as we're waiting for a few more minutes for people to join, let me just briefly introduce my colleagues here. So I'm joined by Maya Horvat from Sploro with the other blue background, Anka from Innovex with the Open Horizons background, and somewhere in the call is Stano, the coordinator, which I cannot see you, Stano, but I heard you.
Yeah,
And
I'm
my
here.
name is Virginia, also from Sploro. Where? Oh, there you are. Yes, I can see you now. In the meantime, if you want, feel free to use the chat to let us know where you're connecting from as we're waiting. And we will also be sharing project links in the chat for quick reference while we're going through the presentation as well.
Of course, yeah, whatever. But yeah,
Esther from Tempos,
still you will tell me the same.
can you hear us? Esther from Tempos? Yes, thank you for muting yourself. All right, we'll be just sharing the window to get us all in the mood of what we will be talking about. And Maya will be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, she will be taking the questions throughout the call, but we will have time for Q&A later as well. So let me go through a little bit of housekeeping. So please keep your microphones muted while we will be speaking, but at the end, feel free to turn it on and ask any questions you may have. The session is being recorded, as you have already seen. We will be uploading this video on the website for future reference. So if you don't want to show your faces, of course, feel free to turn off your camera. We will be going through a little project introduction by Stano, and then we will walk you through the open call process in detail. We will talk about eligibility and evaluation, the selection process. Then we will do a live demo of the application in the Explorer platform. Anka will walk us through the program of services, and then we'll finish with a Q&A. So, Stano, would you like to give us an introduction?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Virginia. So I will just, my name is Stanislav Laktiš. I'm from Slovakia, from Pedal Consulting, the coordinator of the project. And I would just like to give you a brief overview of the project and the framework that we work in. So then I will give floor to my lovely colleagues to describe the open call. In our project we approach to it as so it's not just funding because we saw the gap in women-led startups, especially in the technology sector and deep tech, that money is not always the problem. The problem is the access to the market and the mentorship. So our motto is basically that Open Horizon is more than just the funding. and we are connecting the leading corporations with the Wimila Digital and deep tech startups. And I just want to emphasize the role of the corporations in our project, which is the main feature here. So, but my colleagues will tell you more about that. So yeah, please, next slide. So our mission is to help women digital and deep tech startups by connecting them with corporations, and we are doing this through paid pilot program. So basically, we have a two-stage program for startups. All in all, it's 6 months. In the first month, they are working on the proof of concept and business model canvas, together with the corporates and together with the project partners, Innovex, and yeah, and it's all paid. So the startups can receive up to 55,000 euros. And then after the program, we will also work with them on the follow-on agreement. And the funding that I mentioned, it's 1.2 million. And through 3 open calls, we plan to support 39 women-led startups. And yeah, as I said, startups can receive up to 55% of 55,000 euros. And this is divided into several tranches based on the performance in the support program. Yes, next one. So now this info day is to give you more details on the third open call. In January, we closed the second open call, and yeah, and the third cohort, the third open call will be open until May 19th, and we plan to support or to select 15 startups for the first phase, the inception phase, and then 7 of them will advance to the piloting stage, where they will work on the pilot with the corporate partner. Yeah, next one. Yeah, here you can see the project partners. As I said, Pedal Consulting from Slovakia is the coordinator, and we have the heart of the program is our partners from Sploro, Innovex, and Migros. And we also have associated partners from Stahl, Repsol, and Siemens, who are the corporate partners for our program. Yeah, I believe that's all. So yeah, I if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. But I think most of the questions will be answered by my colleagues in the coming presentation. And so yeah, I would like to thank you all for joining. I see we have 44 people joined, so this is now 45, so it's a very nice number. So, and please just if you have any questions, just ask. We are here for you. And I just want to say that I would need to leave in a few minutes. I'm going to a conference here in Prague. So, but you are in a very good hands with my colleagues.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Stano. All right, so let's walk through the open call. As if you could save your question for the Q&A at the end or type it in the chat, so that we don't interrupt the process. Thank you. So let's go through the open call. The open call opened on March 2nd and it will close on May 19th. The deadline is very, very strict and the time is very, very strict. We do not give extensions. And if you email us to submit any documents beyond that specific day and time, we will not be accepting them. So please note the deadline date, and give yourself a couple of days. Please don't try to not submit your application at the very, very last minute, because we see how platforms work with last minute stuff. And the stress is really high for everyone. So then after all the submissions are done, the next step is the evaluation, selection, and contracting part. So the first step is the eligibility check, where we check if the proposal is indeed eligible according to the criteria that are published in the guidelines. Then we go through the evaluation process. Then we go into ranking and selection, which is followed by interviews of the highly ranked proposals, and then the final step is the administrative check and contracting, where pretty much here it's where we decide which startups are selected for funding. Then after the selection is done, the selected applicants will go through the acceleration program, which we're estimating that it will begin in September and finish in February. And this is, it has an inception phase, a piloting phase, and then some follow-on activities. But we will see everything in detail in the process. Now let's check the evaluation process a little bit. So the steps are that we receive the applications, then according to the guidelines that we have published online, so please read them. These are like your holy document for the application. Everything, every single piece of information is included in the guidelines. And here we mention the criteria. So the very first step, our team checks if your applications meet all the criteria that we have set for eligibility. Then we separate the non-eligible from the eligible applicants. We go through the red flags, which is another set of criteria that we're looking into according to the information on your application. And then we narrow down the selected applicants up to 50 proposals that will go to the experts evaluation. We do that because obviously we want to manage the workload for the evaluators. So then the evaluators, which are external and it's not our teams, evaluate the proposals. Then we normalize the scores to remove any biases. Then we go to the interviews, legal validation, and then we have the selected applicants. In a little further detail, again, in eligibility check and flags, we look in the application form, we check the legal entity information that you have provided, if you are from an eligible country, the women's leadership as requested, if it is an early stage and a digital deep tech startup, and what's happening with the flags. Then in external evaluation, we have 2 experts evaluating. They look into excellence, impact, and implementation. Then we normalize the results to, again, remove any biases, and this happens with mathematical formulas. Then we move on with interviews, where at the interview stage, both external evaluators participate and the corporate partner, that according to the challenge that you have selected. And then we have the very final selection at the very end with the legal validation. So let's see the eligibility criteria one by one. So here we have, first of all, that the application needs to be complete and all information submitted and documents must be in English. Please do not submit CVs in other languages or any other documents that have other languages, because this is an eligibility matter and you will be deemed ineligible. So every single piece of information in the application form needs to be filled in and in English very, very strictly. The startup needs to be digital and or deep tech. In the guidelines, we have included terminology about what is considered a digital startup and a deep tech startup. The startup needs to be founded or co-founded by a woman, legally defined as a woman. So if you are identifying as a woman, then you may apply, and we will be asking in due process for an ID. So we have to be able to verify that indeed you are legally defined as a woman, and that woman should have women in the company should own more than 25% of the shares. So not just the founder or co-founder, but all of the women in the company. And then the founder or co-founder should also hold a top management position. Then in terms of the early stage criterion, the startup should be established between 6 months and 6 years, and we count this to the day, comparing the registration date of your company with the submission date of the application. So you have to make sure that when you submit the application, your startup must be older than 6 months or younger than 6 years. And at this point, I would also like to stress out that we're looking at the company registration date. We do not take project initiation dates, for example, as a starting date. We do not make exceptions here to that rule if you are even for one day older and younger than this specific criterion. So your company has to be legally registered for this specific time frame. Then it should also be an autonomous SME, and we have included in the guidelines a link where you can read about the SME criteria according to Horizon Europe. And some of the criteria that we're looking into, for example, are that the employees need to be fewer than 250 and that the annual turnover is less than 50 million euros and the balance sheet less than 43 million euros. Also, you should have raised less than 1 million euros in equity, and there should be no conflict of interest, no double funding, and not in bankruptcy. Again, regarding double funding here, it does not mean that if you have been funded by another EU project that you're not eligible to apply. You are eligible because what we're pretty much asking is that the activities proposed in Open Horizons have not been funded before by another project. So you may have received funding from Women Tech EU or EMPO Women or other EU projects. As long as the activities proposed in this application, and we assume that because you are addressing a certain corporate challenge, they will be different, you should be good to go. In any case, if you do think that there is a double funding issue here and you select that in your application as a yes in the eligibility question, we will contact you and ask you for more information, and we will not just discard your application. So not to worry about that. In terms of eligible countries, first of all, we have the EU member states that are eligible to apply. And then in terms of Horizon Europe associated countries, this is the list that is eligible to apply. Switzerland has been the newest addition again since the previous open call. We do not have USA or Canada or other countries, even though they might be Horizon Europe associated, but this is a specific call and this is strictly our list. Now, in terms of flags, which is the step after eligibility, as soon as we separate the eligible from the non-eligible ones, this is what we're looking into. We have 4 criteria that we're looking into according to the application information. We're looking if you have the capacity to survive without grants, if you are demonstrating a strong orientation towards growth, if you have interest in scaling and attracting investors, if the startup is genuinely deep tech focused. In order for us to evaluate this, we use Excel sheets and formulas. So we're taking the information from your application and we're applying those filters. We have several internal criteria, which we're not publishing, as we can see here on the second point, because of course, we want to avoid fit for purpose proposals. But if you do receive from us at some point when the results starting to be announced that you were flagged, then at the end of the project, we will publish that criteria and we will be able to let you know that you were flagged in this specific category. Also, the flagging system is a way for us to reduce and narrow down the number of eligible applicants to up to 50 that will move on to the external evaluation. So again, unfortunately, we cannot move everyone to the evaluation and have the experts evaluating hundreds of proposals. So that's our way to filter out the top applicants. Now, going into evaluation, as mentioned earlier, we have 2 external experts, one with a business profile and one with a tech profile. They're both experts in the challenge that you select, as well as the domain, the deep tech domain. And they're looking into 3 main categories: excellence, implementation, and impact. So in terms of excellence, we're looking how well is your proposal aligned with the corporate challenge. As you may have seen already, the corporate challenges are described in a lot of details in the guidelines. We have objectives, we have expected outcomes. So the evaluators here are looking to confirm that indeed what you propose and the activities that you propose are very well aligned with that challenge. They're looking at the degree of innovation, whether your proposal is indeed feasible and what is your technical approach, as well as if you're implementing open science practices. Now, in terms of implementation, we're looking at the team's capacity. We're looking also into the roles that you are mentioning in the team, and if you will be needing any external resources or any external staff, perhaps, or subcontracting, whether your activity plan proposed and the Gantt chart for the 6 months of the piloting program is indeed realistic and very clear. So make sure that you include all the activities there in detail, include the team members. These should be detailed documents. And we're also looking into the risk management that you have proposed. Finally, in terms of impact, we're looking at the relevance and innovation and what kind of impact it creates, the implementation readiness and market entry potential, your contribution to the green, digital, and social transitions, and the IPRs. Again, I would like to add here, which I mentioned yesterday in another presentation, that because this is a deep tech call and we get a lot of scientists proposing and applying in this call, we see a lot of detailed descriptions of the solutions, but the applications are not treated in a business way. So please do not ignore the business aspect of these proposals and that the evaluators need to be able to see what are your market goals, for example, and all these business aspects that should be taken into account. So please pay special attention to that. Then the next step is the contract signature process. So after we evaluate everyone, and we do the interviews, we communicate the results with all the applicants. So even if you have been rejected or if you have been evaluated or flagged, everybody receives results. The next step is the legal validation, where we're checking if indeed your company is real and it's legal and all the financial documents that the commission needs to kind of check. We do that step. And finally, we sign the sub-grantee agreement with the coordinator, which is the very final step before you get into the program of services. A little bit about the legal validation, but no need to worry about this here because this is only in case you are selected for funding. And in this case, we will hold a separate webinar. In legal validation, we're asking for an ID of the applicant, a power of attorney to make sure that you are indeed legally representing your company, company registration documents, tax or VAT ID registration. If you're validated in the funding and tenders portal, then we're asking for your PIC number and your portal screenshot. If you're not validated, then again, we will need the PIC number and a legal entity form that you will find online. We'll send it to you. Not to worry about this. We're also asking for financial identification forms and a bank statement to ensure that the bank account of your company indeed belongs to the company and not someone else. And finally, an SME declaration form, as well as financial documents of your company. So here we're asking for balance sheets, profit and loss accounts for the last 2 closed years. If you do not have 2 closed years, then we're asking for the most recent documents. Now, last but not least, regarding the implementation and the payments, the type of funding is up to 55,000 euros per startup. It's equity free, as we mentioned in the beginning, and we do not require invoices here. The payments are happening in tranches, as Stano mentioned, and Anka will go through this in detail. It's based on deliverables and KPIs. And the payment requirements are participation in mandatory activities, and the deliverables will be evaluated by the project partners, the corporate members, and our advisory board. Now, how to apply? I'm going to walk you through the application form. Here we have, first of all, if you want more information and if you want to find all the resources, just jump on our website. And this is our help desk email, so you can email us there anytime we will respond. the deadline again, and let's go through the application. So now I have created a profile here, and normally if you log into your profile in the Explorer platform, this is what you will be seeing. If you go under applications, under my applications, here it should be the application for Open Horizons. So I'm clicking to open the application, and then I need to start filling it in. So the very first part, and here on the left, you can also see the sections. Here we're asking for all the information of the applicant. So participant information, phone number, include your country codes, please. Gender, position in the company, organization information. Here you can select your country, or if your country is not listed, then you can select other, and then if it's another country, you can add your country. PIC number, it is optional, but if you have it, even better. That's great. Eligibility self-declaration. So technically, these are the main criteria that we're looking into when we're separating eligible from non-eligible applicants. So we're asking about whether your startup was founded or co-founded by women. If you say no, we will say, please note that you're not eligible for this call and to carefully read the guidelines. We're asking about the top management position, the shares, if it is a legal registered entity, etc. We're asking for the data registration of your company, about the equity that you have raised. Here is, has your company raised 1 million or less? A lot of people get confused and think that the question says if you have raised 1 million or more, and then they answer no. And then we double check with the applicants, of course, to make sure that it is a correct answer. But please pay attention to the questions. It says 1 million or less. We're asking for the amount to confirm that indeed this question is correct. We're asking again about conflict of interest and the double funding element, but again here, even if you select no, we will be getting in touch with you to confirm if you do have a conflict of interest, or if you are indeed double funded or not. Now, section 3 is about the project description. So here you will be describing the project in detail. In 3.3, we're asking you to select the challenges that are published for the third open call. You have to select a challenge. This is mandatory. You cannot not select one or select two challenges. You need to select one and address the specific challenge. An abstract, then we're moving on to excellence. You might have noticed that as I'm scrolling down, the changes are being saved automatically, but if you want, you can also click save on your own. So technical excellence, there is a specific number of words for every question. In implementation here, you are filling in the information of every single team member that will be participating. You need to upload the CV in English, again, no other languages. If this person is holding a PhD, short bio, and what is the role in the project. And you can add more team members by clicking add more. Then a few questions about the activity plan, uploading a Gantt chart, risk assessment, etc. Then we move on to impact. I'm not going to go through every single question here, but for example, in the transitions, if you click yes in one of the green digital or social transitions, you're being asked to further elaborate. The fourth part is the startups information. So we're asking about the company. Here we're asking about funding. We're asking specifically about 2024 and 2025 in the financial history. So here you may add 2024 and 2025. Please do not submit other years. We will completely ignore information from other years. If you do not have financial documents from 2024 or 2025 because you might have been established a few months ago, don't worry about it. Just add the year, add zeros here, it will not mess with your application. But if you add that data from other years, we will completely ignore them. Regarding forecast, here we're asking for the forecast, which is growth focused about 2027, 2028, and 2029. Again, please do not add years that are like 2026 or 2030. We want all 3 years. We do not want to see 2027 and 2029 or 2 of those years. We need to see all 3 years here very specifically. In international presence, we are asking you to list the countries that you have had sales, and this is the international aspect, so please do not include the country in which you are based. And then if there are other countries that are not listed here, please specify every single country and not add something generic like all of Europe or all of the world. We're counting the countries, so please add the countries listed here. Then moving on, the 5th section is the ethics self-assessment. These are all ethical questions, yes and no questions. And if you have identified some kind of ethical issues, then at the very end of the section, there is, where is it? Here. Over here, we have added a PDF. This is an ethics self-assessment form. You fill it in. You can upload it in your documents section. We won't be asking for it, so just save it somewhere, and we might need it later on if you are selected for funding. Last but not least, declaration of honor. That you confirm and have read the declaration of honor, personal data protection information, and when you fill everything in, these lovely exclamation marks will be gone. So click save, review and submit, and best of luck with that. And back to our presentation. Our very final slide is about the FAQs, technical issues. If you have any inquiries or if you need us to reopen your application before the submission, contact us at this email and we'll get back to you ASAP. And I'm going to stop sharing and give the floor to Anka for the program of services and have myself a sip of coffee now.
Well deserved, Virginia. So thank you very much for this very, very thorough walkthrough. Just like Virginia was saying before, it's very important. I'm going to reiterate that for a couple of times during my presentation and sharing with you in just a couple of seconds. Okay. This is me. Just quickly let me know if you can see this presentation. Now, as I was saying, it's very, very important that we read the guidelines. So I'm going to start with that, mentioning again, probably during this presentation, about this service program provided by Innovex. What I'd love to do next actually is give you a bit of a picture, hopefully a clear picture, just like Virginia provided of the how to apply and what are the eligibility criteria. So how does this program actually look like from your perspective when the journey of your interaction with Open Horizons starts once you've been selected or matched with a corporation? So a little bit about us. We are Innovex. We are a tech business acceleration, independent, international. And what I always love to say is that we don't just run programs, and this is why we're in this mix. We like to say that we sit sort of in the middle of the collaboration between startups and corporates. So maybe this is why we are here in this mix and always making sure that things will move forward once you've been selected. We've been working in the space for quite some time. So our role within Open Horizons is to, let's say, structure the collaboration and to guide on both sides. So both on your side as a startup and on the corporate side. And also, very importantly, to make sure that what starts as a very promising match actually turns into a very meaningful pilot. So a little bit about the challenges with, of course, the disclaimer I just told you about. Challenges are found in the application guideline between pages 24 and 42. So they're also pretty easy to be remembered. When it comes to the challenges to this open call, one thing that I like to emphasize whenever we have this type of event is that these are not generic innovation topics, as you will see. So they come directly from real corporate needs, even though the corporates themselves are not mentioned there, as you can imagine. There are lots of confidentiality, restrictions, but I can assure you that they are real problems that these companies that have launched these challenges are actively trying to solve as we speak. You will also notice that they are quite deep tech in nature, and which is also intentional. It's also in sort of the nature of the project. So we're not looking for simple digital tools. We're looking for technologies rooted in science, in engineering, in advanced computation, and solutions again that can create a real change in how things are done within these companies. You can see, so in terms of the themes approached during this open call, we have quite an array and a very diversified portfolio. We have 12 very, very good challenges that are definitely worth your while. And I'm also noticing a great participation to this info call. So I'm sure that each of these challenges will find at least, a couple of proper matches after the call has ended. So I'm very, very optimistic about this. And to understand a little bit about why these services are important, because once you have been sort of matched with a certain challenge and you've been selected, inception phase is the next step, and it becomes extremely important. So what is this inception phase? It's basically the very first phase that you are going to go through once you've finished all the administrative stuff behind. And it's quite a hands-on, very working type of period where we will bring together your teams with the corporate team that has launched the challenge and try to the best of our abilities and work as a team and define that POC and how it will actually look like. You have here a sneak peek of the acceleration phase, or as the program calls it, the inception phase, that is going to take place during the month of May for the following call, and during the month of September for the open call 3. So again, we work to clarify how your solutions will fit the challenge, what exactly it is that you are going to test, what the success will look like, what kind of data you will need, and what your constraints are. So it's going to be very transparent and very collaborative. Of course, we will make sure of that at Innovec. This is what we do. So it's going to make it, we are going to make it work and have you collaborate very closely with your counterpart at the corporation. So again, direct contact with the corporate team, starting inception phase, and throughout this process. All 15 selected startups will enter inception phase. You will be guided, and we will make sure that you will deliver to the best of your abilities and on time the two main deliverables in order for you to get the first lump, which is the 10K euros. And speaking about the question that I read in the chat earlier and referring to it, everyone is eligible for finishing this phase. So this is very important for you to understand. We want you to go through this phase, to start working with the corporation, even though at the end you may not be selected to go through in the piloting phase, because this is how the project rules are. Only 7 startups will advance to the pilot phase, and this is also subject to a very objective selection done by external experts. Now, going back a little bit to the inception phase into the program, you will go through a series of targeted workshops. They are designed to support your growth, of course, and support your growth beyond the pilot itself. So, for example, we have here the Microsoft Power Up Lab. You will get access to expertise tools, of course, tools that can help you strengthen the technical side of your solution, and of course, think about scalability in a more structured way together with our partner. Also, there's this legal readiness workshop. I know it doesn't sound very, very exciting at first, but it's actually quite critical when you start working with corporates. So this is where you start to work more on things like IP and data, contract, of course. So all the aspects that can possibly block a collaboration if they are not handled correctly, but also can, looking at the brighter side, that can also unlock it and make it happen. And then, of course, and these are the most important maybe sessions, I would say, the sessions that are focused on working on your actually POC plan and on your business model canvas, because they are going to translate into your actual deliverables. But don't worry, we are going to work together hand in hand. We have excellent experts and facilitators. So everyone, I would say, that is going to enter inception phase, and I'm very optimistic, is going to finish it and finish it successfully. So this is what the calendar actually looks like. You also have, I inserted here the deadline for just for you to understand a little bit about what's going to happen. This is the calendar for the month of May. You are going to have a similar one for the Open Call 3, but just to go through a little bit of how an inception program agenda looks for the second cohort, because I think it helps creating a very good picture on what it requires of you in terms of, I don't know, timeline and participation and resources. And I was saying a little bit earlier, because this is very important and it's a subject that I really like to stress. So following the inception phase, each team will be evaluated on a very clear set of criteria, as you can see. So it includes how well the solution aligns with the corporate challenge. This is why I'm telling you it's very important that we stress a lot the collaboration with the corporate. So you need to have the clarity on the business model you propose, and Virginia referred to that. So it's not only about the innovation that you bring to the table, but how you translate it into actually an actual successful business case for the corporation. So you need to show that you have a business model that works, and that the feasibility of your POC has been very clearly defined together with the corporation, because otherwise we've seen cases where it's been very difficult, to steer the presentations and the business case itself from a business point of view, and seeing how it works in the actual corporate environment. Yeah. So unfortunately, as I was saying, it is a competitive process. Only a limited number of startups will advance to the next phase. this is where the pilot will be implemented. But like the objective during inception, I think this is the most important takeaway from this, is not to filter you out by any means, but rather to give you a very fair chance to demonstrate how your innovation and your technology can actually create value in a corporate context. And these are my contacts. Again, go through the challenges, pages 24 to 42. Read them. If you have any clarifications that you need, please write to me. We can connect via LinkedIn as well. What I can tell you from the get-go is that I cannot definitely share more information than you already have in the guideline. And this is a question that I receive quite often. Can you tell me more? Can you tell me more about the I don't know, this and that product, about the target audience, about I need more information regarding data. It's definitely something that we cannot provide. And also we cannot do that also from an ethical standpoint, so to speak, because everyone needs to go, you know, from the same position and have, you know, the proper standard for everyone from the get-go. So I will not be able to share more information, but I will be able to maybe clarify some things that, you know, maybe have been overlooked or are not necessarily confidential. But other than that, it's very important that you try to answer to the best of your ability with the product or the service that you have developed the best way you can. It's a shot that you need to take. So if you feel that you have an affinity with that theme and with that industry, please use this chance, because I've seen founders that have said, I don't think I'm going to match with this, or I don't have enough details, and I think I'm going to have like an overly general presentation, and I'm going to not be selected. And you know, they ended up actually being matched and us meeting in the inception phase. So please just give it a try. It's very important to first off read the guidelines, and if you feel like, okay, this is for me, even though I don't have all the details I need, just definitely need to give it your best shot and try to work your case through that challenge. It's very important that you do, because you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the program. It's very hands-on. It has real results. We are going to end this first cohort in June with some demo days, and it's been a lot of work, but it's been highly rewarded, not with just the grant itself, but also with collaboration with the startup, visibility, and you know, a lot of opportunities for the startups that have made it there. I don't know, if you have any other questions, please shoot. Thank you.
Thank you, Anka. I just want to add here also that we've seen in previous applications that applicants assume which is the corporate partner behind the challenge. We're not publishing the corporate partners behind the challenges, so please do not assume which one is it, because you might get it wrong. Just stick to the challenge, and yeah, we will evaluate that as it is. A question in the chat for you, Anka, is that will the outcomes from inception phase include pricing structure that startups are going to charge the corporates once commercialized?
No, I would say no. It's rather, so what the inception phase is trying to achieve is of course prove that there is potential for collaboration and that it actually works. So in the format that we are going to provide for you. So don't worry about prices and price structures, because it's the context does not at this point, or at inception phase anyway, focus on that. Yeah, we are focusing on actually validating the match that was done by our partners at Sploro when evaluating your application.
We are getting questions about TRLs, and I'd like to clarify, that we're not asking for TRL level in the application. Anka, I don't know if you want to add more about TRLs
No,
at
it's just
the program.
we're not either, but it's something that we've noticed from the collaborations and the matches that we've done so far. So it's pretty much a minimum of 5, let's say 4 or 5. So it depends very much from case to case. I wouldn't limit my application, based on that information, though.
Exactly. So yeah, please do apply no matter what your TRL
Yes,
is. Yeah.
yes, definitely.
All right. Any other questions? If you want, feel free to open your mic and jump in. Have we been that clear? Wow. Exciting.
And what I want to say, I want to add something because there's a lot of question I see on the TRL and on the, and it's normal. I totally get it. So these challenges that we've launched in this call, they are designed to be pilot ready. Yeah. So the expectation is, of course, to present your solution, but just think, do they work in a real environment? Because they are going to be tested in a real environment. Just start with this premise, okay? Forget about going to details on pricing and on presentations that you've delivered so far. Just if you have something that it's really innovative, it's really breakthrough, and it matches the challenge, just go for it. Just present it and say, hey, I have this solution. Let us test it together, because it might, if it works, it's something that can become and can be scaled within the group. We have very large corporations that are eager to see what's going on in the market, in the ecosystem, and they are willing to take the solution to the next level. So it's going to be work hand in hand with the corporates. Definitely going to receive a lot of help, both from mentors, from the corporate themselves, from ourselves, who are going to guide you through all of this. So the first step, this one, the fact that you are here, I would say, is checked, and thank you for that. This shows already that you have intention. But the second one is you've had the walkthrough from Virginia. It's going to take a while, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it, because you will have the chance to present your invention, your technology to a large corporation with a huge potential for growth. So apply. I'm encouraging you to definitely read those guidelines and apply.
Thank you, Anka. Helen, are you referring to the application process or the program regarding the challenges that startups encounter? The program. Any challenges, Anka, that startups encounter in the program?
I don't understand the question. The challenges that startups. I'm sorry. I have
Not
to
the
get out of the challenges paradigm. I'm sorry. I'm just still so. Yes, of course there are challenges. So I would say the main ones are in terms of actually showing up. So as you probably saw earlier during my presentation, you will have some mandatory sessions where you will definitely have to be there if you want to finish inception phase and move on to the piloting phase. So showing up is the first thing. Just if you cannot do it as a founder, as a co-founder, send somebody from the team. But the company, the startup itself has to be there. So this was a challenge for some of the startups, probably because many of the dates in the last cohort were pretty last minute. But even so, show up. So this is very important. Just show up for all the workshops. And further on down the line, regarding piloting phase, the challenges are the typical challenges, I would say, when working with corporates. So you need a lot of patience. You need to explain maybe 3 or 4 times to various teams that you are going to interact with. Maybe at the start of the inception phase, you are going to talk to, I don't know, head of innovation from this or that company. But during, the 6 months, you are going to interact with several other teams. So you'll have to, hone those pitching skills and keep your patience while presenting, your case to various other people, because you will need their buy-in. And you will help the person that you first interacted with from the corporation to actually, sell your POC within the company. Our goal in the end is to have you scale your product at group level and maybe even beyond. So lots of patience, lots of collaboration, and show up.
Thank you, Anka. We're getting a question regarding SMEs and whether sole entrepreneurs are eligible to apply. I'm adding here a link regarding the SME definition, which we also have it in the guidelines. So to be considered a small, medium enterprise, sometimes it depends on the national laws of your country and what kind of company you have in the country you come from. So please check the specific criteria that the Commission has announced regarding what an SME is. In some countries, you need to have employees, for example. It's not like just a personal company can apply. But please refer to the guidelines and the Commission's definition. 7 years ago, no, it will not be eligible. You have to be legally established between 6 months and 6 years, very, very strictly. We do get a lot of questions about the age of the startup. We're very strict about this, and we're not taking into account dates that are project dates. Incorporation of the company that applies. Orsolia, yes, please.
Hi, I wanted to ask regarding the deep tech aspect of it. So we have a company, for example, and we are going into, it is a deep tech company, but we are also making steps to create value right away to existing businesses. And I'm not sure how to formulate this to make it understandable that we already make some money, but that is not our goal. Our goal is to collect the data to be able to do the deep tech aspect of it. And my question is, how do you evaluate if it's deep tech or not?
Well, we are not the ones evaluating that to begin with. These are the external evaluators that do that job. Again, I would go to the guidelines and specifically check the definitions that are included regarding digital and deep tech. So you need to check if your startup is considered a digital or deep tech and whether your solution is also digital or deep tech. So unfortunately, we cannot specifically give you a tailored answer that what you're doing is considered, because that would not be fair to everyone else, and we're not the ones judging that. So
thank you.
Try check the definitions and try. I'll take this final question, and then if you have more questions, please feel free to use our help desk email. Regarding the documents, so for the application, and I'd like to separate these two phases, the application and the legal validation. For the application, we want all documents in English. These are the CVs and the Gantt chart that we're asking for you to upload and all the application information. Now, for the registration document and financial documents and whatever you have published from your own organizations in your local countries, we do not ask for translations. We will translate them ourselves anyway. So if you have translations, great. If you do not have translations, don't worry about the official documents. We will handle it ourselves. Thank you so much for joining. And online, so you can go back to it. And if you have more questions, we're here. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Again, fingers crossed. Good luck.
Thanks for sharing. Have a good day. See you.